A quiet widow steps into an elite shooting range, facing a smug world champion marksman. One shot unveils a deadly secret. Her husband, a sniper, was murdered by a government conspiracy and a sinister force. From heart-pounding shootouts to exposing crimes, will she unmask the mastermind behind her husband's death, or be swallowed by darkness? Who is he? Share this video to spread resilience, justice, and hope, and tune in for the greater mystery waiting to be unraveled. #Silent Sharpshooter. Merciless humiliation. The elite shooter's club shimmered under crystal chandeliers, its marble floors mirroring the wealth of its members. Sarah Johnson, 35, slipped through the towering oak doors, her faded jeans fraying at the knees, her worn white shirt threadbare at the collar. A battered leather purse clung to her chest, jarring against the tailored shooting vests and designer shades. The air reeked of gun oil and smug superiority. Jake Thompson, 40, five-time national shooting champion, lounged near the bar, his custom Beretta glinting under the lights. His tanned face curled into a sneer as he spotted Sarah. "Lost your way from the laundromat, sweetheart?" he taunted, voice laced with malice. "Women like you don't shoot. You scrub floors." The crowd, rich patrons, phones already filming, burst into laughter. A live stream ignited. #, trash shots surging on Twitter's trending list. "Play, you filthy trash," a man in Jake's entourage barked, tossing an old Glock onto a table, its grip scratched and faded. The crowd roared, chanting "Janitor! Janitor!" Katie Brooks, the club's manager, stood behind a sleek counter, blonde ponytail tight, hazel eyes narrowing. She frowned but held her tongue, fingers twitching over a tablet. Sarah stood rooted, her chestnut eyes sweeping the room unflinching. Her hand brushed the gold wedding ring on her left finger, Michael Davis's ring. Her SEAL husband, killed 3 years ago in a classified mission. Grief pressed her chest, but she straightened. "I'm here to shoot," she said, voice low, steady, slicing through the jeers. Jake sauntered closer, his logoed jacket screaming wealth. "Shoot?" he mocked, leaning in, breath sharp with whiskey. "This is a champion's arena, not a sewing circle. Bet you can't even hold that gun steady." Phones zoomed in, Twitter comments flooding. "She's gonna cry. Boot her out." Lauren Hayes, Jake's girlfriend, giggled, filming Sarah's worn shirt, her lens merciless. Katie stepped forward, voice crisp. "She has a day pass, Jake. Let her try." Jake waved her off, eyes locked on Sarah. "Try? I'll bet $10,000 she misses the target entirely." He grinned at the crowd, then at Sarah. "Take the shot, or slink out of here." Sarah set her purse down, fingers grazing the Glock. She turned to Jake, gaze like tempered steel. "Deal," she said, voice ablade. The crowd erupted, phones flashing, but Katie's eyes lingered on Sarah's stance, too precise, too trained. Jake laughed, blind to the fury in Sarah's eyes. A fire kindled by a wound no one saw. The crowd chants, but Sarah's grip on the Glock is steady, her eyes whispering vengeance. Who is she? And what secret will make Jake regret awakening her past? The first shot. Sarah Johnson's hands clamped the battered Glock, its scratched grip biting her palms, her faded jeans shifting as she sank into a weaver stance, left hand pulling, right pushing, a SEAL's lethal precision. The crowd's jeers dissolved, their phones blazing, live streams rocketing #Silent Sharpshooter to Twitter's trending peak. Jake Thompson loomed, his custom Beretta holstered, his smirk venomous. "One shot's nothing," he sneered, but his twitching jaw screamed doubt. Sarah was there for Michael Davis, her SEAL husband, dead 3 years from a jammed rifle in a Black Ops mission. A week ago, Chris Carter, Michael's teammate, sent a letter with a club day pass. "Michael wanted you to keep shooting, Sarah. Honor his promise." She'd vowed to fire one shot for him, never expecting Jake's taunts to ignite a war. Her chestnut eyes locked on the 25-yard target, her gold wedding ring glinting. Michael's voice haunted her. Breathe, Sarah. Own the shot. She exhaled halfway, finger grazing the trigger. The Glock thundered, recoil snapping her wrists. The target slid back a perfect bullseye, sharp as a scalpel. The crowd roared, cheers colliding, Twitter ablaze. She's a ghost. Hashtag silent sharpshooters unreal. Jake's smirk crumbled. Dumb luck, he spat, striding forward, boots slicing the silence. Let's raise the stakes, sweetheart. 50 grand says you can't hit 3 bullseyes at 75 yards. Nail it, I pay. Miss, you kneel, admitting you're a fake. Phones swarmed, comments erupting. She's toast. Lauren Hayes, Jake's girlfriend, cackled, tweeting hashtag trash shot with a clip of Sarah's worn white shirt, frayed at the cuffs. Katie Brooks, the club manager, edged near, tablet clutched, ponytail tight. Jake, enough, she hissed, voice strained. She's no fraud. Jake ignored her, pinning Sarah with a predator's glare. Scared? Sarah's gaze was forged iron. If I win, the money goes to the Veteran Support Foundation, she said, voice a quiet guillotine. The crowd buzzed, respect flickering. Jake's grin was poison. Done. Katie yanked Sarah aside, whispering. Jake's on a ledge. Thompson Industries botched a military contract. Shoddy rifles killed troops. Losing to you could sink his Remington deal. Sarah's pulse spiked, Michael's words flashing. This rifle's garbage, Sarah. Triggers sticking. His final gripe. Ignored before the mission that claimed him. Sarah returned, reloading with eerie calm, calculating bullet drop and a 3 miles per hour crosswind for 75 yards. Her second shot cracked, another bullseye, the crowd surging, Twitter screaming. She's a machine. Jake's face tightened, and he nodded to a wiry thug in his crew. A mirror flashed, light slashing Sarah's eyes. Blatant sabotage. Live streams caught it, comments raging. Foul play. Hashtag silent sharpshooter don't break. Sarah blinked, vision clearing, but the Glock's trigger snagged, kinked, resisting like a rusted trap. Her heart slammed. It was the same defect as Michael's rifle. The jam that misfired, leaving him exposed to enemy fire. Fury roared, her pulse a battle drum, but she adjusted, teasing the trigger with surgical finesse, compensating for the sabotage. The shot boomed, the target revealing a third bullseye, lethal as a death knell. The crowd erupted, standing, cheers shaking the walls. Hashtag silent sharpshooter trended globally, Sarah's clip racking millions of views. Jake charged forward, face ashen, ripping the target down. No fucking way, he bellowed, inspecting it like a man facing execution. Sarah lowered the Glock, her worn shirt soaked, eyes blazing with a truth she couldn't unsee. The trigger sabotage was no accident. Her phone pinged Chris Carter. Docs on Michael's mission. Thompson Industries made his rifle. Jake approved it, knowing it was trash. Sarah's hand steadies, but her soul ignites. The Glock's sabotage mirrors Michael's murder, and Chris's evidence fingers Jake. What truth will she hunt, and how will she make him bleed for it? The diary of the past. Sarah Johnson hunched over her kitchen table in a dim Boston apartment. The Glock's kinked trigger from the elite shooters club glaring under a flickering bulb. Her faded jeans clung to her hips, her worn white shirt damp from restless pacing. Michael Davis's diary lay open, its leather spine cracked, each page a grenade of truth. Her gold wedding ring burned against her finger as she read her husband's final words, written days before his death 3 years ago in a Black Ops accident. Chris Carter's text haunted her. Thompson Industries made Michael's rifle. Jake approved it, knowing it was trash. Michael's handwriting was sharp, urgent. Jake Thompson cornered me in Kabul 16. Offered $1 million to leak SEAL ops for Thompson Industries. I told him to eat dirt. He's tight with Colonel Robert Kane. Kane's pushing their gear, faulty or not. If they come for me, Sarah dig. Her breath hitched. Kane, Michael's commander, had called his death a helicopter crash. The final entry gutted her. Rifles trigger jams again. Reported to Kane. Sarah, if I don't make it, shoot for me. Find the truth. She slammed the diary shut, fury coiling like a snake. Jake hadn't just sabotaged her Glock. He'd signed Michael's death warrant. Her phone buzzed. Chris Carter, voice low. Meet me at the docks midnight. Got contracts proving Thompson Industries, and Kane greenlit defective rifles. Michael was collateral. Sarah's pulse thundered. She tucked the diary into her purse. Its weight a vow. Jake's taunts at the club weren't random. He knew Michael. And now she was a threat. Across town, Jake Thompson prowled his penthouse, the Charles River glinting beyond floor-to-ceiling windows. His Beretta sat polished, but his hands shook, sweat beading despite the chilled air. Sarah's 3 bullseyes had cracked his armor, and Twitter's #SilentSharpshooter was burying his brand. Lauren Hayes scrolled her phone, voice shrill. She's got 2 million followers, Jake. They're sniffing Thompson Industries' military flops. Jake smashed a whiskey glass. Shut it down, he roared, dialing his fixer. Bury her. Now. His assistant slid him a file. Sarah Johnson, widow of Michael Davis, seal. No shooting record. Jake froze. Davis? He hissed. Memories of Michael's defiance, a steely rejection of his bribe cutting deep. She's his widow? Jake stormed to the club, facing a buzzing crowd, phones live streaming. That nobody thinks she's a shooter, he bellowed. 10 stations, $100,000 next week. I'll crush her. Cheers erupted, but Katie Brooks, tablet in hand, texted Sarah. Jake's unraveling. Thompson Industries is under DOJ scrutiny for faulty gear. Losing to you could end him. Sarah, clutching the diary, replied. He's already finished. At the docks, Chris, broad and scarred, handed Sarah a manila envelope. Kane signed off on Thompson's rifles, he said, voice gravel. Triggers jammed, scopes misaligned. Michael reported it, threatened to blow the whistle. Jake and Kane staged the crash to silence him. Sarah's fingers traced the contracts, her jaw tight. I'll bury them in the match, she said, voice cold as a blade. Chris nodded. Kane's at the club now, watching Jake. Be sharp. Back home, Sarah tested the Glock, dry firing to map the trigger's kink shims wedged to jam it, a deliberate echo of Michael's rifle. She practiced for the 100-yard Macmillan TAC 338, adjusting for windage and bullet drop, her Weaver stance unyielding. Katie's next text chilled her. Jake's crew is rigging match guns coquette, Kinlek. I can't stop them. Sarah's eyes narrowed. She'd turned their sabotage into a trap. Twitter churned with #SilentSharpshooter hype. Is she a sniper? Jake's scared shitless. Sarah loaded the Glock, her worn shirt clinging to her back. Michael's words burned. Find the truth. She wasn't just shooting for a bet or the Veterans Foundation, she was a hunter. And Jake and Kane were prey. Sarah grips proof of Jake and Kane's blood-soaked betrayal. Her sights set on exposing them in the live-streamed match. But with rigged guns and Kane in the shadows, can she fire the shot that brings justice, or will their traps silence her like Michael? Breathless battle. Sarah Johnson stood at the firing line, her faded jeans loose, her worn white shirt sticking to her back, sweat beading under the club's harsh lights. The 10-station match roared around her, a sea of spectators, their phones live-streaming to millions on Twitter. Jake Thompson, 10 yards away, adjusted his custom Beretta, his jaw clenched, eyes flicking to Colonel Robert Kane in the VIP box, a silver-haired man in a crisp suit, his stare cold as a sniper's scope. Twitter hummed. #SilentSharpshooters got Jake sweating. Who's breaking first? Sarah's gold wedding ring glinted as she gripped the Glock. Its kink trigger a ghost of the faulty rifle that killed Michael Davis, her SEAL husband 3 years ago. Chris Carter's documents burned in her mind. Thompson Industries supplied the defective gear. Kane signed off, all to silence Michael's whistleblowing. Her pulse hammered, Michael's voice echoing, Shoot for me, Sarah. Katie Brooks, by the scorer's table, texted. Jake's guys fucked with your guns, triggers jammed, scopes off. I'm watching them. Station 1, Glock 17, 25 yards. Sarah settled into her weaver stance, left hand pulling, right steady, hip squared. The trigger caught, shims grinding, but she'd practiced for this, easing it with a soft pull. She adjusted for a faint crosswind, 1.5 miles per hour, and fired. The shot cracked, bullseye dead center. Jake's shot was tight, but a hair wide. Score: Sarah 10, Jake 9.8. The crowd buzzed, phones flashing, Twitter alive. She's on fire. Lauren Hayes, Jake's girlfriend, live-streamed muttering, she's just lucky. Station 4, Sig Sauer P320, 50 yards. The scope was skewed, a sabotage job. Sarah squinted, using mental windage, picturing Michael's lessons. Trust your eyes, not the gear. Her shot pierced the bullseye. Jake's clipped the edge, his fingers twitching. Score: Sarah 40, Jake 39.5. Spectators leaned forward, whispers rippling. She's catching him. A thug in Jake's crew flashed a mirror, light stabbing Sarah's eyes. But she blinked it off, her focus a razor. Twitter caught it. Jake's playing dirty. Hashtag silent sharpshooter, don't flinch. Station 8, AR 15, 75 yards. The trigger jammed worse, a deliberate echo of Michael's rifle, the flaw that left him defenseless in a desert firefight. Sarah's stomach knotted, but she short-stroked the pull, her shot true. Jake's grazed the bullseye, his breath ragged. Score: Sarah 80, Jake 79.2. The crowd roared, phones shaking, hashtag silent sharpshooter trending worldwide. Kane's eyes narrowed, his hands signaling an aid, the air thick with unspoken threats. Final station, Macmillan TAC 338, 100 yards, 10 shots. Jake went first, his shot surgical, scoring 98.5. The crowd gasped, expecting Sarah to buckle. No woman's handling that beast, Jake snarled, voice fraying. Sarah stepped up, the TAC 338 scope misaligned by 2 mils, trigger kinked like a busted hinge. She calculated 3 miles per hour wind, left to right, 0.3-inch drop, and adjusted for parallax, her hands steady as granite. Michael's words anchored her. Truth, Sarah. Always. Her first 9 shots slammed bullseyes, each a thunderclap. The crowd held its breath, live streams hitting 12 million views. The 10th shot loomed, the trigger near collapse. Sarah exhaled, teasing it with a lover's touch. The shot boomed, the bullseye shredded. Score: Sarah 99, Jake 98.5. The crowd surged, screams shaking the walls, hashtag takedown Jake exploding. Jake staggered, ripping his target down, face pale as death. She rigged it, he bellowed, voice cracking. Katie charged forward, tablet raised, voice slicing through. Camera footage: Jake's crew sabotaged Sarah's guns. The screen lit up. A thug wedging shims into triggers, caught red-handed. Boos rained down, Twitter ablaze. Jake's a cheat. Hashtag silent sharpshooters, the real deal. Sarah faced Jake, her worn shirt a banner of grit. You and Kane killed Michael, she said, voice low, lethal. Thompson Industries made his rifle, triggers jammed. Signed off by Kane after Michael refused your money. You staged his death. Chris Carter shoved through the crowd, clutching Michael's diary and contracts. Proof, he roared, tossing them to Senator Tom Harris in the stands. Thompson Industries and Kane knew the gear was trash. They murdered Michael to cover it. Jake lunged, grabbing the diary, but Harris stood, voice booming. FBI, take them! Agents swarmed, cuffing Jake, his screams lost in the chaos. Kane tried to slip out, but agents pinned him, his suit crumpling like his lies. Twitter detonated. Hashtag justice for Ghost. Jake and Kane are done. Sarah lowered the TAC 338, her faded jeans streaked with dust, eyes fierce with triumph. The crowd chanted her name, phones immortalizing her unbowed stance. Her phone buzzed Mark Wilson, Veteran Support Foundation. "Sarah, lead our shooting program. You're a legend. Jake and Kane are cuffed, their crimes exposed. But Sarah's fight isn't over. What new calling awaits her? And what ghosts from Michael's past will rise to challenge her victory?" Final confrontation. Sarah Johnson stood in the dim hallway of the Elite Shooters Club, her gold wedding ring a cold anchor to Michael Davis, her SEAL husband, murdered 3 years ago by Jake Thompson and Colonel Robert Kane's conspiracy. The crowd's chants from the match still echoed, but Jake's cuffed exit, his glare venomous, screamed unfinished war. Twitter blazed with #JusticeForGhost, Sarah's final bullseye clip soaring past 15 million views, a beacon of Michael's truth. Katie Brooks, the club manager, caught Sarah outside a holding room, her tablet flashing Twitter's chaos. "Jake spilling? #silent sharpshooter's a hero. He wants to talk," Katie whispered, voice taut. "His lawyer says it's now or never." Sarah's pulse surged, Michael's last diary words burning. "Find the truth, Sarah." She nodded, stepping into the sterile room, the air sharp with antiseptic and Jake's desperation. Jake sat, wrists cuffed, his tailored jacket creased, eyes sunken like a man staring at his own grave. "You think you've got me?" he rasped, voice frayed. "Thompson Industries is a machine, Sarah. Kane's a pawn." She leaned against the wall, her stance unyielding. "You killed Michael," she said, voice steady, grief clawing her chest. "You offered him millions to betray his team. He refused, so you and Kane gave him a rifle with a kinked trigger, staged a crash to silence him." Jake's face crumpled, shame warring with defiance. "He was a stubborn bastard," he muttered. "I gave him a way out 2 million to leak SEAL ops. He laughed, threatened to expose our gear. Triggers jamming, scopes misaligned. Kane said he'd ruin us. The crash." His voice cracked, eyes darting. "It wasn't my call, Sarah. I just signed off." Her heart twisted, Michael's voice a faint echo. "Shoot for me." She stepped closer, voice low. "You signed his death warrant. For profit." Jake's head dropped, a choked, "I'm sorry," slipping out. But his lawyer barged in, papers flapping. "We're suing the Veterans Foundation," he snapped. "Jake claims you planted evidence, faked the footage." Sarah's blood froze. Jake, cornered, was lashing back, his wealth a weapon to twist justice. Twitter erupted. "Jake's countersuing? #takedown Jake's fighting dirty." Chris Carter met her outside, his scarred face grim, slipping her a USB drive. "Kane's talking to the FBI," he said. "This has recordings Jake and Kane planning the rifle swap to kill Michael. It nails them and Thompson's board." Sarah gripped the drive, her resolve steel. Her phone pinged Mark Wilson, Veteran Support Foundation. "Sarah, lead our shooting therapy program. Vets need your fire." Katie joined them, her voice fierce. "I'm done being silent," she said. "Jake belittled me for years, said women don't belong here. I'm testifying against him." Sarah clasped her hand, a shared spark of defiance, as Katie tweeted her story, #WomenInFire trending. Sarah's chest tightened, pride mingling with grief, but Jake's lawsuit loomed, a threat to Michael's legacy. She drove home through Boston's rain, the USB drive heavy in her purse, Michael's diary a silent sentinel. Her windshield blurred, his memory vivid, his steady hands guiding hers on a Vermont range, his laugh warm. She'd exposed Jake and Kane, but the foundation faced legal fire, and justice felt fragile. At her apartment, she sat, the drive glinting under a lamp. Lead vets to healing, or fight Jake's lies in court. Her phone buzzed. Chris. FBI traced a third player above Kane. Someone big. We're not done. Her breath caught, the conspiracy sprawling beyond Jake's reach. Jake's confession and Kane's fall cracked the conspiracy, but a shadowy third figure looms. Will Sarah heal vets or hunt the mastermind behind Michael's murder? Risking everything she's fought for? Steadfast choice. Sarah Johnson sat on the edge of her Boston apartment's worn couch, the USB drive from Chris Carter glinting under a flickering lamp. Its recordings of Jake Thompson and Colonel Robert Kane plotting Michael Davis's murder a heavy weight. Her gold wedding ring caught the light, tethering her to her seal husband, gone 3 years, his truth now shaking the world. Jake's cuffed confession and Kane's arrest had cracked the conspiracy. But his countersuit against the Veteran Support Foundation loomed, a venomous jab to smear her victory. Twitter pulsed with #JusticeForGhost, Sarah's bullseye clip at 20 million views, but Chris's warning, a third player, above Kane, churned in her gut. The rain had stopped, but Sarah's window framed a city still restless, mirroring her own heart. Michael's voice echoed from a Vermont range. Teach them, Sarah. Show them strength. Her phone buzzed. Mark Wilson, Foundation Director. Program starts tomorrow. Vets are waiting. You in? The choice tore at her. Lead the shooting therapy program, healing broken soldiers, or fight Jake's lawsuit, risking her name to chase the shadowy third conspirator Chris had flagged. She drove to the Foundation's new range, a modest setup in Quincy, its steel targets gleaming under dawn's gray light. 8 veterans waited, their faces scarred by war, some with prosthetic limbs, others with eyes hollowed by trauma. Sarah stepped forward, her voice steady but warm. I'm Sarah, not a soldier, but I learned to shoot from one. The steadiest aim comes from a heart that won't quit. She guided a young vet, his hands trembling on a Glock, showing him how to breathe, to anchor his stance. His first shot hit the target, and his grin cracked the morning's gloom. Sarah's chest swelled, Michael's presence a quiet pulse. This is it, Sarah. Katie Brooks arrived, her ponytail loose, eyes fierce. I'm testifying against Jake today, she said, voice thick with resolve. He degraded me for years, said women were decor here. I'm done hiding. She posted a raw video on Twitter, recounting Jake's abuse, sparking #WomenInFire to trend globally. Sarah clasped her shoulder, their shared defiance a spark. You're changing the game, Katie, she said, voice cracking with pride. Twitter roared. Katie's a queen. #SilentSharpshooter and #WomenInFire forever. Chris Carter pulled up, his truck rumbling, a new envelope in hand. FBI's digging, he said, voice low. Kane named a third player, a Thompson Industries exec, Elizabeth Warwick. She funneled money to Kane to bury the rifle flaws, maybe more. He handed Sarah a grainy photo. Warwick, sharp-eyed, at a Pentagon meeting with Kane, dated a week before Michael's mission. Sarah's stomach nodded. Warwick was untouchable, a corporate titan with political ties. She's lawyering up, Chris warned. Jake's suit might be her play to discredit you. Sarah's resolve hardened, but she shook her head. I'm not fighting Jake's lawsuit, she said, voice firm. I'm teaching these vets, building Michael's legacy. Chris frowned, but nodded, his respect clear. She thought of Michael, his hands steadying hers on a rifle, his laugh bright. The lawsuit could smear her, but these vets, their trembling hands finding aim, were her truth now. She'd let the FBI chase Warwick, trusting Chris to unearth the rest. Back at the range, a vet, Maria, hit her first bullseye, tears streaking her face. I haven't felt this strong since Fallujah, she whispered. Sarah hugged her, eyes stinging, Michael's diary a silent vow. Keep shooting. Twitter buzzed with #JusticeForGhost, fans posting clips of Sarah coaching, calling her a hero. But her phone pinged a cryptic email, sender blocked. You stopped Jake, but Warwick sees you. Back off, or you're next. Sarah froze, the range's steel targets glinting like warnings. Warwick wasn't just a name, she was a predator. And Sarah was in her sights. Sarah chooses to heal vets, forging Michael's legacy, but Warwick's threat looms like a storm. Will she stand with her students or hunt the final conspirator? Risking her life to finish what Michael started? Unyielding legacy. Sarah Johnson stood at the heart of the Veteran Support Foundation's new shooting range in Quincy, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows across steel targets. Her gold wedding ring gleamed, a quiet tie to Michael Davis, her SEAL husband, whose murder by Jake Thompson and Colonel Robert Kane had sparked her fight. The conspiracy's core: Thompson Industries' faulty rifles, Kane's cover-up, and Jake's venomous countersuit had crumbled. But the anonymous email warning of Elizabeth Warwick, the untouchable exec above Kane, lingered like a storm cloud. Twitter glowed with #JusticeForGhost, Sarah's journey now a global beacon at 30 million views. The range buzzed with 12 veterans, their hands steadier now, their eyes brighter after weeks of Sarah's coaching. Maria, a Marine with a prosthetic arm, hit a bullseye, her laugh echoing. "You gave me back my strength, Sarah," she said, voice thick. Sarah's throat tightened, Michael's words a soft pulse. "Teach them, Sarah." She'd chosen this over Jake's lawsuit, trusting the FBI to chase Warwick, her focus on healing souls scarred by war. In a Boston courtroom, Jake faced sentencing, his empire shattered. Handcuffed, his voice broke as he addressed the judge. "I was wrong to bury Michael Davis. I let greed blind me." Kane, convicted alongside him, got 10 years for conspiracy, his tailored suit swapped for prison gray. Twitter erupted. "Jake's done. #TakedownJake forever." The judge awarded the Veterans Foundation $200,000 from Thompson Industries' assets, a nod to Sarah's victory. Yet Chris Carter's call chilled her. Warwick's vanished. FBI's got nothing. She's out there. Katie Brooks, now a foundation ambassador, took the range's podium, her voice fierce. "Sarah showed us women belong anywhere we damn well choose," she said. Her #WomenInFire campaign inspiring thousands to join shooting clubs. Sarah clapped, pride swelling, but her eyes scanned the horizon, Warwick's threat a faint echo. "Back off, or you're next." She pushed it aside, focusing on her vets, their shots ringing like promises kept. Sarah launched the Michael Ghost Davis Scholarship, funding veterans to become shooting instructors, a living tribute to her husband's grit. At the ceremony, she spoke, voice steady but warm. "Michael taught me that true aim comes from heart, from standing up when the world pushes you down. Don't let anyone rich, powerful, or cruel dim your fire." The crowd rose, cheering, Twitter flooding with #SilentSharpshooter tributes. "She's a legend." #JusticeForGhost lives. Clips of Sarah's speech went viral, her words a call to resilience. She knelt by a target, tracing a bullet hole. Michael's laugh vivid from a Vermont dusk, his hands guiding hers. Tears fell, but she smiled he'd be proud. The foundation thrived, but Warwick's shadow nagged, a loose thread in Michael's justice. Sarah stood, resolve unbroken, ready for whatever came next. This story, Sarah's fight, Michael's truth, the vet's rebirth, is a reminder. Never underestimate the quiet ones. Their strength can change the world. Like, subscribe, and share this video to spread these values: resilience, justice, and hope. Let's honor those who fight, heal, and rise together. Sarah's legacy shines, a beacon for the broken, but Warwick's shadow whispers danger. Will she build her program in peace, or will the final conspirator force her to aim once more? Join Diary Women's Story to spread life's lessons, because every story matters, and every voice deserves to be heard.